What a year it was for the Golden Gophers last year. Their most wins in 5 years, 19 games. A team that made it into the postseason playing in the NIT, and they bring back some firepower from last year. 2 of the top 3 scorers, and had a really good haul in the transfer portal as well. So lots of optimism in Minneapolis as we are joined by 2 of those returnees, Parker Fox and Dawson Garcia, along with Coach Ben Johnson. Great to have all 3 of you here. And I want to ask you all kind of the same question, but the end of last year was really a positive for you. So how do you build on it? How do you take that momentum and turn an NIT team into what I know you want to be, which is an NCAA team?
Yeah, it was extremely positive. You know, I think going into year 3, we wanted to develop like what a winning culture looked, felt, acted like, and that was the biggest goal. You know, how do we operate like winners every single day? And so to be able to end the year in postseason play, although it's not the NCAA tournament, but the opportunity to play postseason, to go on the road, to beat a really good Butler team and get a win, really sets the stage hopefully for this year, but not only this year, but the summer and in the fall, with just the attitude and the mindset that we have to have of that's the standard, and how do we build off that?
So how do you build off it, Parker?
Yeah, I think just bringing in the right guys. You know, I give Coach a lot of credit. You know, he does a really good job of recruiting character, recruiting guys that want to be at Minnesota, recruiting good locker room guys, and then in turn they're good players as well. So, you know, we've brought in a lot of new guys, but we've meshed really well. We've done, you know, a lot of work this summer just, you know, getting up and down and playing. I think that's a credit to Ben, is just kind of identifying what we need. And, you know, as basketball players, you need to know when a guy wants to cut or a guy wants to space or who wants to set ball screens, all that little stuff. So I think our biggest thing is just kind of familiarizing each other with each other's games, and that's been our biggest kind of focus this summer.
Dawson, Parker talking about players who want to be at Minnesota, and you are from Minnesota, and you came home to play for the Gophers, and Coach has spoken really openly this summer saying, hey, Dawson could have gone elsewhere, and the implication is that maybe there would have been more money or different opportunities elsewhere, but you chose to stay at Minnesota. Why was it important to you to finish your career as a Gopher, to play for Coach Johnson, to play with Parker and your teammates?
Yeah, just staying obedient to my faith and just trusting and believing in the coaching staff, the players, my teammates around me, and just understanding that this group can do something special. I have a tremendous amount of pride for wearing that Minnesota across my chest every single time that I step on the floor, and it gives me a lot of purpose every single day when I look in the mirror.
So what does this year mean for you? There's a lot of talk about you as a potential Conference Player of the Year type player. You made the preseason all-conference team, so one of the 10 players singled out as the best by the media. What do you think about when you think about, I know you think about team goals and making the tournament, but individually, how can you grow this year?
Yeah, my thing is just finding a couple things that I was working on this summer, and that's just shooting the ball more consistently and playmaking. But when it comes down to that, it's just those preseason accolades are cool, but just having the understanding that rent is due every single day, and Coach has done a great job this start of the year and then summer of building a highly competitive practice. And so we've been going at each other every single day. And there's been ups and downs, and I think that we've done a great job competing against each other, and we're going to continue to do that.
You injured your foot, I know, this summer. How are you on your recovery?
I'm doing great. Thankfully, I've been blessed to be back playing fully cleared, so it's been going well.
Parker, speaking of injuries, you battled them quite famously. You had 2 years that you lost entirely, and you were back out there last year, and you brought so much energy to this team and really got better and better as the season went on. You're also a Minnesota kid. What did it mean to you to finally get that opportunity after 2 heartbreaking years to play for the Gophers?
Yeah, I mean, it meant the world. You know, obviously I'm a player for the Gophers, but I'm a fan of the Gophers as well, and I want to, you know, leave this program better than I found it. You know, obviously Coach was gracious enough to stay by my side through the 2 injuries. You know, and that's another reason why I'm still around today, is because, you know, I feel like I owe this program a whole lot, because it's given me so many different avenues and platforms that I'm going to use after basketball. But in terms of this year, I think the biggest thing for me is just continuing to be that everyday guy, continue to be that leader. You know, it's not about, you know, my numbers and my stats, but how can I get guys like Dawson, guys like Mike, you know, all these guys in the right spots to be as successful as they can be. And then obviously last year we saw some winning from that. So we want to build on that and continue to win basketball games. That's what matters at the end of the day.
So by my math, this is your 8th year of college. Am I correct?
It is, yeah, year 8. I should be a doctor at this point, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Are you working on a PhD? Like what does one do academically early in their 8th year of college.
Unfortunately not. Practice schedule came a little into the PhD route. I did apply and I got in, but I decided to go elsewhere and just do some. I got my master's degree. I got a business.
You literally applied to a PhD program.
I did. Yeah. Took the time to write all the different references and all that kind of stuff. But after getting the master's degree, I was kind of like, do I want to keep with the whole school route, or I kind of want to lock in? And going through the injuries as well, you spend so much time in the training room and so much time focusing on my mental with sports psychology and all that kind of stuff. So kind of set the education aside after getting an undergrad and a master's degree, but still taking classes and taking some fun classes and learning a little bit of different things.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
He chose the right path.
Yeah. No, I mean, working on that doctoral thesis while you're breaking down a game tape of Michigan State or whatever, I do feel like that would be a lot. You have deep connections to Minnesota, as we said. Your girlfriend, Taylor Heisey, of course, a great hockey player at Minnesota, and then was the MVP of the championship of this new women's professional hockey league this year. What was it like to be on that ride with her this year?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Just to see the way that she competes. We have such a unique relationship where obviously we want the best for each other, but at the same time we want to push each other to be the best version of that. We just bought a home a couple months ago, so we're living together now, and we're really enjoying just kind of pushing each other to be the best version of themselves individually, but then as a unit as well. And then our season ended, and I was able to go out to Boston and watch her win the championship, watch her win the MVP. So it's just super excited. For me, it's just such a fun time, both being in Minnesota. So we're trying to cherish that, because you never know what's the next step is going to look like. So life is really good right now.
Oh, it's wonderful. Let's dive into the team a little bit. You've got these guys back. You have a few players who were key contributors, as we saw last season, but you do have a ton of new additions. And I think one thing that you've done really, really well, and Dawson maybe is the exception because he's a high major guy that everyone knew, but you have done a great job of finding kind of diamonds in the rough, players who are low major and mid-major players who can compete and win in the Big Ten. How do you try to, when you're watching a player who's playing at a different level, how are you able to see like how it translates in your mind, and how are you able to find kind of guys who do have enough game to be good Big Ten players?
Yeah, that's a good question, because you never truly know. It's like in recruiting, it's a lot of a crapshoot, gut feel, trust your eyes. One of those guys is Mike Mitchell, who's here with us today. You watch Mike on tape, and you always try to look for, does that player have something that translates, that helps impact winning, and his ability to shoot the basketball, his feel, ability to be versatile, play on and play off the ball. So as you're in the portal, you're looking for those guys that kind of play similarly to how we play, that have a feel, and then hopefully have something that you feel like, regardless of level, will translate and help to impact winning.
What's the next step for each one of these guys this year? What's the next step for Dawson, next step for Parker?
We talk a lot about being consistent. I think both of these guys have done a really good job of being workers every day and making that a consistent habit, and leadership, making that a consistent habit, making their voice a consistent habit. But then across the board, just the performance level is not about numbers, but it's about things that impact winning. Could be a screen, could be offensive rebound, could be running the floor, could be just keeping the offense moving, but being consistent in those daily habits. These guys are talented enough and good enough where I think if your habits are good, it's going to result in really good production. And how we go is how these guys go, and it's not pressure. It just is what it is. When these guys have put in the time and put in the work, and they have my trust, you want to be able to lean on them each and every day, and they've done a great job of that so far.
You guys are out there on the practice court every day. Give us a name or two of players who Big Ten fans might not be familiar with on your roster who could have a huge impact on winning this year. Dawson, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I'll start with Frank Mitchell and Femi. I feel like they've done a great job so far, bringing high energy every single day. And those are things like Coach alluded to, that impact winning in a big-time way.
Yeah, I think Lukai Patterson is a name, a lot of Big Ten fans are going to be a fan of. Obviously, he's a Minneapolis kid, so he's back home now, gets to play in front of, family and friends, just like, me and Dawson do, and he's a guy that wants to be here. So he's going to do a really good job kind of helping our offense lead, and then also want to highlight Femi Odekale as well. Just a guy that, really has a knack. I think he's 5th or 6th year, so he's been around a lot, played at some high major spots, and just really has a knack for the game, and you can kind of sense that early in practice.
5th or 6th year, so a young guy, Parker.
Yeah, one of those young cats. Yeah, one of those young guys.
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. You put it on the tee for me.
Year, right?
Yeah, exactly. Dr. Fox, I'm going to call you doctor.
I love it.
Dawson Garcia, thanks a lot, guys. Really looking forward to watching the Gophers this year. And Ben, always great to see you, my friend.
Appreciate it.
All right.